So you've really seen the media transition from radio to broadcast television to cable television and now the internet. What would you say has been really the timeline for this, the changes and the similarities between medias?
Well, that's really interesting, the timeline issue. I've been incredibly accurate in my forecasts on the business and how it would change. I just haven't been accurate on how long it would take for the changes to happen. There are interesting common themes between what happened between broadcast cable and what's happening now as digital is becoming more and more important. And we used to say no medium has ever replaced another medium. It's been layered on top of in media dat. But what we're seeing with digital is that it truly is in many ways replacing legacy media, and we see that in the newspaper where readership is declining. It doesn't mean newspapers are going away, but for many consumers, newspapers are no longer a part of their lives. For many consumers, the traditional print magazine is no longer a part of their lives. And I think ultimately we're going to see in the next few years, for many consumers, especially young ones, traditional modes of viewing television video content is going to change. Traditional ways of listening to music are going to change. So I think we're seeing much more significant changes in the business today. And I also think we're going to see them move much more quickly in terms of advancing into the culture than we have in the past.
I tend to agree with you on your assessment. The big question, though, is the revenue model behind these transitions.
Right.
What do you see for that?
Well, it's an interesting timetable. The revenue models are critical, and everyone talks about ROI. ROI is a very custom issue. Every marketer has a different set of measures, a different set of metrics. So I think we're moving from a period of standardization in measurement to a period of customization in measurement. And I think it's really going to elevate the research community to a much more important level within both the marketers, the agencies, as well as the media companies, because they're not only going to have to just buy and oversee the methodology of a Nielsen or an MRI, but they're going to have to be working with the customers directly. The research people at the agencies, the clients, and the marketers are going to be working together toward a common goal of delivering ROI by whatever measure the marketer determines that ROI should be evaluated based on.
So do you mean to say that we'll get away from one currency to different currencies?
No, I think there'll be parts of the media that will always be based on currency, but we've got a bifurcation of the media between the traditional legacy, mass reach, commoditized media, where you're one size fits all to a certain extent, and that'll require currencies, and fairly traditional as we know them now, with some tweaks and adjustments and advances. But I think we're going to move toward much more of a marketer's budget being put into custom relationships with the media sellers, where they're looking for innovation, they're looking for association with brands, they're looking to really define themselves through the media brands, and that means cross-platform, so you can't just look at a Nielsen and get a measure on something that's cutting across multiple platforms, including events and experiential marketing, including merchandising opportunities, including digital, including legacy media. You need custom measurement, you need marketing mix analytics, and those are heavily customized, even within an organization like a Market Share Partners that might be providing a dashboard type model. Each marketer picks and chooses the specific elements that go into that dashboard for them. So there's a high degree of customization. Right now, that may represent 5% of our media business. By 2020, I think it's not unrealistic to think it'll represent 35 or 40% of the business, and the research components are going to have to step up to meet those needs.
Of course, that leads to the question, what research components can be developed? Are we talking about set-top box data? Are we talking about other data fusion techniques?
I think a number of the companies that are serving our future needs are already there. I mentioned Market Share Partners is a very good example of a cross-platform marketing mix analytics dashboard. TRA, which is merging set-top box data with customer loyalty card data. We're going to see more and more initiatives. We're seeing some innovative things at TiVo. Simul Media is doing some very interesting things currently in the TV promotion area using set-top box data. The fact is that interactive television, online, digital, mobile, all have extraordinary data accumulation opportunities, and the fact that we can now tap into those that data really changes the game for what marketers are going to be considering valuable research.